All right, so we're officially recording. So, hello there, everybody. My name is Forced to Reckon, and welcome back to yet another awesome episode of The Dupload podcast.
We're keeping it.
Trademark. I actually looked up what "dup" means. Finally, when we weren't here last week because we were both dead on our feet. You because you didn't eat or drink anything and didn't sleep and were sleep deprived. Me because I've just been feeling fucking off for months and I don't know why. Like today I feel like stuffy and I've got this weird situation where like the back of my throat, you know how it feels when you like accidentally swallow or like breathe a little bit of chlorine
post nasal
water
drip.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like this light burning sensation in the back of my throat between my nasal passage and my throat.
You know it's not the big C.
What?
Have you checked or tested? Because it sounds like
it's not COVID.
No.
I have had tons of headaches due to stress because I am now without a car.
You want to tell that story for our pre-stream amble?
I mean, it's not really a story so much as it is a my car needed work because there was a lock problem with it. There was a problem with it, and when I went in to check it, it turns out the thing that it needed done cost like $1,000, and then there was a bunch of other stuff that they said like it'd be road legal, but it'd be incredibly unsafe to drive with this stuff still a problem. So we don't recommend you doing that. And I'm like, okay, so how much would all that cost? So like about $3,000 for like the very bare minimum of what we recommend. Yeah. Honestly, we just wouldn't recommend you drive this car anymore.
You should probably just stop.
Pretty much. I'm like, all right, fucking fine. I will stop driving the death trap. I've known it's a death trap for like this isn't just them either. Like every time I've taken it to a mechanic in the past like couple years, they've said, just so you know, there's like these issues here that you should really get taken care of because otherwise it's incredibly dangerous. And I'm like, okay, it's still driving. I don't care. Bye.
Later
thank
force
you.
is problem. Unfortunately, you are now later force.
I knew eventually it was going to die, and I'm like, all right, well, it's gone. So long, farewell. The big problem is that I am a good boy, and I don't borrow money unless I need to, and I haven't needed to borrow money for 2 years, which means I haven't needed to repay anyone, which means I have no technical credit score with regards to big loan things, such as a loan for a car. So I cannot get a new car.
Or credit card usage.
Yeah, so that's an issue I'm gonna have to fucking solve.
You have to passively grind up that credit score.
Anyways, we're here. We're alone today. We did have a guest who was going to be coming, but they had an emergency come up. So they are not here. Hopefully that is going all right for them. We look forward to seeing them. They're going to be here in a few weeks because we have a whole bunch of guests
lined up.
Yeah, prepped again. So it's good. We ended up taking last week off, and I'm like, well, and then I immediately got more guests prepped, so we're just never going to have a non-guest episode again.
This might be our last one for a while for us. We can upgrade our power level. We don't have to hide. No one else is here. We're the same with guests and without guests.
Can see what
arguably we're worse with guests.
What do you mean?
I think we force multiply more when we have guests. You know what I mean. The way
I've actively
we normally
become lost because I think I missed the thing you were talking about. So now you're just like saying it's like you're saying, okay, there's this thing that we do, and then when guests are here, we do it worse,
more.
But I've missed the thing. So you're saying X times 2 to me, whereas you're saying like 5 times 2 to yourself.
That was a very interesting mathematics framing for it. I would expect that from me, but I've been thinking too much of algebra.
Here's
We're
the
about
thing.
to talk about a meta conversation. I'm backing away from this.
I have been playing Warhammer again, as you know, and Warhammer, as anybody who's played that game would know, in reality, you gotta look at the numbers on this. You really gotta know your numbers. So it's all numbers and math and shit. So my brain's in math space.
Do you actively? We're going to sidetrack even farther. Do you actively crunch the end result of all your percentage upgrades?
No. I look at the final total result and then base the abilities on, like, what is a thing that I want to be doing with this unit. I guess it's a spellcaster. Make sure I get things that do spellcasty stuff and stuff like that. The things I do actively crunch are total average values of my army. I like to know what my average, like, offense and defense values of my army are, based on just, like, pure numbers.
You're a psychopath, is what you're saying.
Well, it's not that hard to do. You take, like, an average of, like, oh, you have this unit 4 times, this unit 4 times, blah, 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 blah.
Still it's a very math-heavy way of playing. I respect it, but I just say, how many of you guys have armor piercing? How many of you guys are monsters? How many of you are ranged?
Who wants to start? Who wants to start as we get into this? It's been a while since it's just been us, but for those of you who haven't been here before, who don't know what it is you're watching right now or listening to right now on the YouTube / Spotify / SoundCloud, which we have one of each. This is a podcast called the Data Upload Podcast, also known as the Dupload now, where we are uploading data to PowerCore's gaming environment, because PowerCore is a video game character stuck in their game world, aimless, all their data's been corrupted, so we're giving them new data to work with. Yay. In the spirit of that, we are looking at things on the internet, mostly written format, so that it's easy to hear from podcasts, or easy for you podcast people to follow along. In this case, mostly we read SCPs. In fact, that's all we've read so far. Someday I intend to bring, like, a short story or something. Or like a poem or something like that. It's just like, there's no actual thing. It's just a fun thing that inspires stuff. We then take the thing we read, and we design game concepts on it. That's everything ranging from base core mechanics to, like, grand scheme, like campaign, big bad evil guy, or like environment in a map. Stuff like that. It can be literally anything. Doesn't matter how connected it actually is to the thing. The idea, for me, and this is something that I figured out, I think the thing I like about this podcast, the thing I really want this podcast to stand out as, is a show of how something can inspire, even the simplest thing can inspire, like, the biggest ideas. Especially if you weave them together. Like we did with Jesse on our last episode, which is 2 weeks ago.
I do remember.
Where we took a fucking joke SCP and a whole bunch of other, like, these small SCPs that we read, and we created a fucking full-on campaign, like, arc from start to finish of, like, with a BBEG, potential mini bad guys, a town, a whole bunch of other stuff, because we just went wild and we just riffed on it. Yeah. And so, like, yeah, for me, it's like Upload is about being inspired by even the smallest thing to create something else.
And hey, if you want to find out more or more detail about that whole campaign arc, go check out our previous episode. Who am I kidding? You already have, because you're a loyal viewer of the Dup podcast.
It's good we have you here. I'm going to make it a rule of thumb that I never counterpoint, even jokingly, those statements. Because I realize I'm terrible when it comes to, like,
shilling
and, like, future proofing. You know what I mean? Like, being like, okay, because, like, right now we've got, like, what, 10 subscribers, and it's like, okay, you say that there's 10 people who watch us PowerCore, if that.
Yes.
It's like,
you see, we need to lay the foundation when that 10 becomes 100, and that 100 becomes the army of Dup, and then eventually the nation state of Dup.
No, do you know what Dup is?
What is the other Dup? I should probably ask this before.
What Dup are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the Data Upload Podcast people. we need a name for our audience, but that will come later.
Dup
We have a bigger audience.
The most recognized version of it is the Democratic Unionist Party of Northern Ireland.
Oh no! I accidentally. I didn't know that. I started going.
We're Irish now. Here we go. All right.
The politics.
Hail Ireland, fuck England.
Chat, not here. Oh no! It's
incredibly stereotypical Irish accent.
It's fucking Britbogger politics too. It's not even American politics.
Here we go. Democratic Unionist Party is a unionist and loyalist political party in Northern Ireland. It was founded in 1971 during the Troubles by Ian Paisley, who led the party for the next 37 years. Currently led by Jeffrey
Politics
Donaldson.
History Podcast.
It is the 20th largest party in the Northern Ireland Assembly and is the 5th largest party in the House of Commons of the United Kingdom. The party has been described as right-wing and socially conservative, being anti-abortion and opposing same-sex marriage. See what you've done, Power Core. Fuck the gays, no having babies. Or wait, no, that's the opposite of what we're supposed to be doing. This is a joke. I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear
for any of this joke. No one would have known, Force. No one would have known. But now I'm the dup guy. Now I'm anti. You see, be careful with Twitch streaming, guys. One day you'll wake up and realize you're anti-abortion.
One day you wake up. When you're a gay man, one day you wake up and realize you're against same-sex marriage. Oh fuck.
Oh damn.
I mean, I'm not.
You wake up. Oh no, I'm racist today.
I've already created a character.
Force, is this going to be the day that we move on from SCP and that we just make random shit?
Wikipedia. We just made a thing off of Wikipedia on accident. I also just showed the entire world my list of passwords.
Nope. Wikipedia. Oh god, that is good too. Wikipedia diving can. Oh god, is that the master document?
Okay, new thing. Next week, I want
Wikipedia
us both
diving
to have. It's not even a full Wikipedia. We're just pick like the intro paragraph of like a Wikipedia article.
To
read. We're not gonna say anything. We're gonna have an amazing author on next week, and we're both gonna do Wikipedia.
We just done that. Hey, Force, yes, because this will be a good litmus test. Do they watch our stuff before they come on? Because we spoiled what we're gonna do to them. If they're surprised, oh, okay, you just don't watch your podcast. That's understandable.
Alright. So anyways, the thing I just created is a character who randomly rerolls personality traits at the end of each long rest. So you give him like a list of like 20 personality traits he can have, and then you roll 2d20 each rest to determine what your personality traits are for the next day.
Today I'm feeling more. Oh no, he has to roll ideals, bonds, and flaws, each one randomized.
You keep the ideals and bonds. You reroll personality traits and flaws. Because those are the things that you really work into, whereas ideals and bonds are things that like are developed and established for that character in that moment. Like for that character, it's something for the player to have as a consistent thing. So personality traits and flaws, which are things you can play to and that can make really interesting engagements, whereas things like the ideal and bonds, which are really core to the concept of the character.
You don't want to be literally a different character every time, just the character with random wacky characteristics.
You could also do it in where you have like 2 personality traits and then you just re-roll the second one every day. And reroll your flaw every day amongst like a full list of 4 flaws. So players never know what your flaw is going to be that day till it kicks in. It's like, what the fuck, man? What's your problem with him? He's an elemental.
Unfortunately, he rolled misogynist today, and that's going to be a very awkward conversation.
And the best part is you create your own list of things. So it's not, if you don't want to have a guy who could randomly become racist, then you just don't put racist in his...
Yeah, it should be customizable, but it does sound very fun. His best friend's a dwarf, and then the next day he wakes up, he just fucking hates dwarves for some reason.
I mean, that's something you'd have to discuss with like the other players beforehand and be like, hey, I plan on, I kind of want to do this. I won't play it up too much, but like, here's my plan with this character. Every day he wakes up and hates a different species of creature.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so there's two flavors for this. One is a ranger with their favorite foe. They become very bigoted against that favorite foe. And another is, I was thinking like wild man, because wild magic is so infused into him. His personality is also on the wild magic table.
Oh my god, you know another one you can do? I thought of it just because I read the next line, which is that the DUP evolved from the Protestant. It literally calls it the DUP evolved from the Protestant Unionist Party and is historically strong links to the Free Presbyterian Church of Ulster. And so you could very, very much like have your character re-roll their fucking god in the morning. Just worship a
different god. Priest re-rolls their god. You're known as the deific town bike. Everyone's had a ride.
All right, you wanna start the podcast properly with an SCP? I say properly.
Oh, sure.
Technically, we didn't break from our fucking modus operandi. We did just read something on the internet
and get inspiration from it. Sure, I'll start us off with the first paragraph of my Wikipedia article. Gun. A gun is a ranged weapon designed to use for a shooting tube, gun barrel, to launch typically solid projectiles, but can also project pressurized liquid, e.g. water guns, cannons, spray guns for painting, or pressure washing. Projected water I was going to read one sentence. This entire paragraph is one sentence. The joke has gone on for too long.
I mean, it's not exactly a bad thing. It's given me an idea.
Anything that launches a projectile is technically a gun. The Gunomancer. Everything they touch, it was now able to shoot projectiles legally, and for all Wikipedia definitions, it is now a firearm or ranged weapon. I'd say firearm. It's a unique.
Oh my god! What about a character who calls themselves a gunslinger and then their actual like weapon is a sling because it fires projectiles? Wow!
It's a sling, and the projectiles are guns.
Even better, they have like a bunch of fucking rubber bands all over their head, and they just flick them up and fire rubber bands.
He has to have a whole turn to reload because he has to reset all the rubber bands.
No, they're each enchanted. Oh, or no. Okay, this is actually getting into a semi-serious fucking concept. So each of the rubber bands, like, each of the rubber bands is like on a glove, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a glove with like a bandolier of rubber bands on it that he can like flick his thumb into and fire real quick. So he can just like machine gun fire, just.
He can thumb flick.
And the gloves are enchanted so that at the end of a turn, anything fired from them, anything like dropped from them that's not in them that was in them, is returned. So he could just like thumb flick a bunch of fucking rubber bands as his common. And then each of the rubber bands is enchanted with like a projectile speed thing, so they actually do damage. Just like a 1d4 firearm.
You can have that. Would that be a monk weapon?
I'd count it as a monk weapon.
I'd count that because I'm thinking for like the amount of hand dexterity he's using, it would be a monk weapon, and you could have each of the rubber bands basically as a stand-in for Fury of Blows or for different elements that you can fire with them. So you have one fire band, one water band, one earth band, and you can shoot off all of these and they return to you. You can customize your little loadout. I'm trying to think. In a video game sense, if you just had a character with a rubber band, but anything you pick up in the world is now your ammunition. It's never destroyed, but the hard part is picking it up.
I mean, what?
Do you remember Peggle? Or Peglin?
Do I remember Peggle?
Have you seen Peglin?
Yes, I watched Tom.
Yes, this is how I know you know what Peglin is. The same way that he has his little sack of rocks, I'm thinking in an actual third-person shooter, you have like one rock. And your level up is that you can carry more objects, but you can fire anything out of your little slingshot. The whole challenge is firing it, getting it back, and then firing it again. And it does variable damage depending on what you shoot. And you can shoot anything, be it a rock, a chair, an actual entire other enemy that you picked up and put inside your magic your set, because anything put in there is now a valid projectile for you.
So a dumpster. So you're saying
Yes.
just put a dumpster in?
Shoot a whole
Hold on.
dumpster. And
Let
it
me
resizes to a
get
dumpster.
my most powerful projectile. The heaven-piercing skyscraper projectile.
I put a snow globe in here. It was full size when I grabbed it.
All right. SCP. You have an SCP.
Ah, yes. I found this one amongst my my scans, and I very much enjoy it. I'll send it on over to you.
Jingling, jingling, jingling bells.
You'll know why I enjoyed it the moment you see it.
Well, it's a cooking guide, so
Yes.
I can guess. Hey, it's pink.
Yeah, cooking guide SCP, by the premise alone, intrigues me. But Site 88, Dr. Cimmerians?
That's a C.
Cimmerians.
Cimmerians.
Cimmerian. I have never seen that word typed before.
It's not a word, it's a name, but generally speaking, the C at the beginning of a name, unless followed by an H in English, is C.
Cimmerians, culinary corner.
I say that, then there's things like Colin. I think it's just CI is where...
CI and CE can be S. I thought it was a hard K sound because of the alliteration. Well, but yeah, Dr. Cimmerian's cooking guide for the Foundation employees. Ahoy! I'm Dr. Cimmerian!
No, you gotta do that right.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, we also nearly forgot. Where's the other data? I have to go to the footnote. Because this...
It's the very bottom. It's in... history.
Yep. Because this is brought to us by Eleni Fishtruck. Thank you for the content.
This is uploaded less than a month ago.
Oh. It's fresh out the oven. Freshly baked.
Yeah. Eleni Fishtruck.
Eleni Fishtruck. Thank you for the content. And now, I guess I'll kick us off. Because there's no other normal SCP categorization for now. We'll find out as we get in. Ahoy! I'm Dr. Cimmerian.
Do it right.
What have I missed?
There's a second hoy. It's ahoy hoy!
Oh, it's ahoy hoy. I'm sorry.
Hoy.
When I see ahoy, my brain kind of merges the two hoys. It's hoy superposition.
Cimmerian is clearly chibi. Ahoy hoy!
Damn, if only I had the chibi equivalent.
You
ahoy
are chibi.
Hoy! I am not chibi. I have opposable thumbs, sir. So? That is an offense to people of the chibi race. I'm pretty sure you can't be chibi and have opposable thumbs.
Then how do chibi use items? Because we need opposable thumbs to use items.
You see, the surface of their hand, if you could call it, is a thin adhesive strip around it that allows them to attach to any form of matter and hold on to with something resembling a grip.
It's not attaching that the thumb is valuable for. The thumb is valuable for counterbalancing, directing, finite control.
Yep. Have you seen a chibi person wield a sword? They're not very dexterous.
Are all chibis just minorly telekinetic? Is that what we're getting at?
And mild matter mancers, material mancers, you know the term I'm looking for, because they can inject things sometimes into the hand palm and allow it to slightly insert in without piercing effects. You're writing this down as another idea.
Actually, I'm writing down the fucking chibis as telekinetics because it came with the. Anyways, you may continue. Continue reading.
Ahoy hoy! I'm Dr. Cimmerian, and I come from the mythical land of Alabama, ruled by Prester John and home to Site 88.
Hey sis, you want to go have some fun? Welcome to Alabama.
You actually completely destroyed me with one line. That was impressive. I'm so not ready. You just say, "Hey, sis, who the fuck is he? Wanna go have some fun?" Oh no.
It's Alabama.
That was a little bit too good.
I'm on a roll today. Woo. Make comments about being
don't worry, Alabama's not real. No
true.
one was harmed because Alabama's not real. We tend to work long nights and eat
If they
poor
were, they're a
food.
more very family-oriented state, so I doubt they care what my opinion is.
If we have any Alabamans in the chat, type it force if his depiction was accurate. In the comments or in chat, please. And educate force. Do Alabamans tend to work long nights and eat poor food?
Educate me on how Alabama is actually not that bad, and there are actually full-on countries that have worse rates of the joke made available. They're just not made fun of for it.
Yeah, well, not made fun of in certain circles. Not all make fun is specifically about we're getting off topic. This is a bad train.
We were always going to get off topic. We knew this.
That is very on brand for us, yes.
All right.
Okay. We tend to work long nights since it's Alabama. Now I have to add on an accent and eat poor food. Well, food not up to Cimmerian standards anyway. Thus, I'll come to you with 4 ethical foundation recipes that'll keep you from starving on long nights with the sad box and the Bel Air disc.
Oh,
and I believe the sad box and Bel Air are 2 specific SCPs, 2986 and 2251.
Anyways, now that we've cut all of that out.
Yep. For the Apple of Discord, ingredients: 1 apple.
Such a great chatting platform. Wouldn't you agree?
Indeed.
Don't hate us, Discord. We need you for communicating.
That's the only way we can be. Oh no, we actually would be. Don't tell them that force. They do need to know how much power they have over us. In all gaming and programming communities.
We've got sidetracked almost 10 minutes worth of time from reading the title of a recipe.
Hey, Force, you want to just play some Warhammer 3 for the podcast?
No, we must record the podcast. Read the Apple of Discord.
I have read it. The Apple of Discord's ingredients are an apple and a knife, and its instructions. Place the apple on the cutting board so it doesn't roll. If the apple rolls, you're doing it wrong. Cut the apple in 5 equal slices. It's more ethical this way. Huh. The conclusion. My good friend Christina came up with this one. Christina Morse. It could also be Moore. I think it's the last name Moore spelled Morse. But my good friend Christina came up with this one. When I asked her why 5 slices, she just said that's the way her parents did it. I then asked her again, clearly, why 5 slices? More specifically, why her parents did so. She said she didn't know. When I asked if that's an ethical response, she left the room. I decided not to press the issue.
Wow. At first I just disliked Cimmerian because they were telling you how to cut a fucking apple. Now, I just fucking hate them because they're asshole.
It seems a little bit socially unaware. Like, no, why? I asked you specifically why, and you're giving me an invalid response. I need you in 5 points or less to just write me a paragraph. What is the purpose of your parents cutting apples? Did I just say
I hate somebody who's neurodivergent for being neurodivergent? Ugh. Rip me.
Yeah.
Oh no, the neurodivergent ADHD guy hates neurodivergent people.
String him up. Put him in the streets. Tar and feather. You ready for tomato roast?
I just hate people who are told there is no reason and go, but why though? Specifically, I hate people who's like, is that an ethical response? Is that your moral understanding? Fuck you, asshole!
But Force, under a consequentialist framework, isn't it invalid in order to try to propose that this is the more ethical means? We've not even begun to establish what is and is not ethical under our meta-ethical framework.
I'm sorry, that was the sound of me not caring and just drinking.
I see, you filthy deontological
fluffy rice and chicken. Hold on, let me just get some water real quick. I'm sure you guys are loving that fucking sound. Should I leave the water filling moments in the podcast? You think that's a funny bit? I think it's a funny bit.
I don't think it is.
Ingredients: 2 chicken breasts, halved. Oh god, those chicken breasts were good. Sorry.
I mean, they just spawned inside. That was the anomalous effect. All right, figured it out.
Nurgle has come to me today. I am burping and all sorts. That's how you know it's Nurgle burps.
Nurgle's also the other kind of burps, the non-oral burps.
Please no. 1 10.5 ounce can of mushroom soup. 1 soup can of milk. What?
I guess like canned milk.
3/4 cup of uncooked rice, 1 4-ounce can of mushroom, 1 envelope soup mix. Instructions: preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. If it heats to 350 degrees Celsius, tell your oven to stop doing that. Mix all the ingredients together in 9 by 12 inch glass cake pan. The measurement is very important. Place the chicken on top the ingredients, cover with foil, and bake for 1 hour. Uncover, stir, and bake for 15 minutes longer. Chicken might come out alive. This result is unethical.
I think it would be if you resurrected the chicken in your cooking process.
Conclusion: you can potentially serve this with a whole, halved, or diced chicken. You have to consider your life choices first, however. Okay, I've just had an idea. So you read. I'm going to
write it down. Because next we have balsamic chicken thighs and potatoes. The ingredients: 2 pounds of chicken thighs, 0.5 or half a cup of white balsamic powder, 2 teaspoons of honey, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 garlic cloves, 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme, 1 tablespoon of fresh parsley, 2 to 3 basil leaves, salt, and 2 large red potatoes. I think I unironically have all of this except for the 2 large red potatoes in my cabinet right now. So who knows? I might make some balsamic chicken thighs and potatoes. Minus the potatoes. Actually, wait, I do have red potatoes. I can make the whole thing. Yes. The instructions. In 1 bowl, combine vinegar, oil, garlic, honey, thyme, parsley, basil, and salt. If you didn't get that, read it again. In 1 bowl, combine vinegar, oil, garlic, honey,
thyme,
parsley, and thyme. What? No, it's
thyme. It's thyme. It's thyme.
No, it's not.
It's thyme.
This is not thyme.
Thyme pronunciation.
THY, and you want to tell me this is?
It is
thyme.
Time.
Oh wait, I don't know why I just sent you the thing I Google.
Why did you? Just play the thingy.
Time.
Google's wrong.
Time.
I disagree.
Time.
I'll put my foot down on this one. But the laws.
No, you are the first person in years I've heard call it thyme. Just because it has an H doesn't mean
it should though. By the laws of English, it should though. This was an exception. It's breaking the rules. It's an illegal word.
Nope.
Even the British pronunciation is the same. That's nuts.
Time.
Vanderbilt University, pretty much all Americans pronounce time sans H, the same way we say time. It wasn't until I found out there are some parts of the UK where they actually do pronounce it like thyme, started second guessing the proper way to pronounce this herb. Checked with Irish pronunciation sites, though, and they seem to be saying it the same way, time. My gut instinct is that both pronunciations are correct, but did some research to confirm this just to be safe. Thyme is an aromatic herb of the mint family. Blah, 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 blah. Comes from the Greek word.
What's the Greek word?
Thumis, meaning courage.
So, time's even weirder.
Because knights wore time when they went into battle.
Oh, that's funny. So I guess the herb was named because of knights wore it. It garnered that name, or did knights wear it because it was called a courageous herb?
I guess they don't. It doesn't say.
The etymology of the word
time.
The more they wore, the more brave they were, I guess.
We like this to become the etymology stream because I'm also down for this. Random word history.
All right, so Merriam-Webster, which is, as everybody knows, not a very valid place anyways, lists both variations of time and time as legal pronunciations. However, just so you know, everybody in the world will correct you if you call it time.
And I will fight them. I will be against the world. I will battle them.
Well, it's time to continue reading.
Go
Time.
time yourself. Whisk until
You know what's
combined
funny?
and add chicken thighs.
It's really funny. I have I have a spot where you have said it as time, so every time you say time, I am just going to take that clip and copy and paste it over it.
But Force, now that you told me this, I'm going to make your life really hard and randomly say
Time.
consistently throughout the video. Let's see how long you can keep up that consistency.
Oh, easily.
Alrighty, we'll see in the final product. How many
Time.
can I force to edit in? Whisk until combined and add chicken thighs. Marinade for 20 minutes. For some reason, I wanted to say
Time.
when I read the chicken thighs. We're fucked. You fucked up my brain now. TH everywhere is now.
Time.
That is so. If the chicken survives, it drowns before you eat it. Oh, you have to marinate it for 20 minutes because if the chicken survives, you have to drown it. It's more ethical that way? Question mark? That part wasn't part of the article. That's just my assumption. Preheat the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
Remember, if it goes to 350 degrees Celsius, tell it to stop.
Remember, that's previous instructions. All right, there will be a quiz on this later. On stovetop over medium-high heat, sear the thighs for 3 to 4 minutes. While you do this, marinate the potatoes. This is so, if the potatoes survive, they drown before you eat them. Put the chicken and potatoes in the pan and bake for 35 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
A conclusion. This one cite it eats cooking contest. I won by eating the other entries before they got judged. There is no rule against this.
And therefore, it's ethical. All right.
I kind of like that. As this is why this person has won every food eating competition. He just eats all the other entries every time. They can't stop him. He just teleports and eats their entries. Therefore, he's been undefeated.
Well, he has to. He's got all the thyme in the world.
You're only making this for yourself now.
Well, no. I said I'd do it for you. I can make the fucking joke.
So you can say
time,
but it's illegal for me to say the. I get it. I see how it is.
Chicken
I don't
and
have
broccoli
my
Alfredo. Ingredients: 8-ounce rotini. See, now I can just hide all that audio.
Rotini.
Time.
12-ounce broccoli. 1 tablespoon olive oil. 2 boneless chicken breasts. Salt and pepper. 2 tablespoons butter, 2 tablespoons flour, 3/4 cup of chicken broth, 3/4 cup of milk, 1/4 cup of cream, 1/4 tablespoon garlic powder, teaspoon garlic powder, 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan. Instructions. Cook the pasta.
Time.
See my pataphysics orientation.
What? Wait. No, not that word. Not that word again.
Pasta physics. I missed
Oh, thank God. It's pasta physics. Wait, there's a whole sub-article on pasta physics, by the way.
Yep. Add broccoli in the last 2 minutes of cooking, drain, and set aside. Over medium heat, heat olive oil and cook the chicken seasoned with salt and pepper. Do/cook/season both sides. You don't become a winner by sticking to one side. Let the chicken cool and dice. Melt the butter in a skillet, whisk in the flour, and add... Oh, okay. This has been such a weird read when it said melt the butter in a skillet and then whisk in the flour. I thought it meant whisk the diced chicken in the flour. This is the first thing my brain went with.
It's a weird thought, but it wouldn't be illegal per se.
Yeah,
like if you're battering chicken in flour,
you'd be whisking entirely dry goods. That feels really weird. That's not really what a whisk is for.
It is. I do whisk dry seasonings together, like when making fried chicken powder. Yeah, when you make it a seasoning skin, you whisk it in. It's the best way to stir.
And add the chicken broth and milk. Cook for 1 to 2 minutes. If you freeze the mixture, figure it out. Stir in the cream and garlic into the mixture for 1 to 2 minutes until thickened. Stir in the Parmesan, chicken, and broccoli. Combine. This is the easiest step as it involves the least skill. Conclusion: they say a wise man thinks once before he speaks twice. This is wrong. I've only spoken my thoughts once, and I've been correct every single time.
I kind of like that conclusion. It kind of does sum up the whole cooking art. I like that. That was a fun read. On no honesty.
Yeah, that was good.
I get the vibe. What might even... I wonder if this... So there's two worlds in my mind. One is this article is a snapshot of this person's writings because they are the anomaly. Another is, this isn't even anomalous. This is just a researcher who felt so strong about his convictions for a cooking guide, he posted it on the SCP website, on his site's website without anyone's permission.
I mean, this guy is almost certainly an actual... is actually the SCP. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so yeah, another one is if he's the SCP, things, whatever he cooks actually does slightly become alive again, or has very anomalous effects as he cooks. And he just told him, document your stuff like a cooking guide. We're all going to read it together.
Yep.
Food-based powers. That's just, it's a really ripe thing for ideas.
Speaking of food-based powers, getting into it, into ideas mode. Ideas mode. So, originally we had a joke about chibi people.
Indeed, in their telekinetic hands, and how illegal their hands are.
I imagined telekinetic dolls who play pranks on people and end up kind of being horror. Because they're just like fucking with shit in the area, and it's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Why are things flying? Why is this table flying after me?
Because they're like Fae. They don't understand that horror isn't funny. To them, you being terrified is hilarious.
They literally derive joy. So, your original thing was telekinetic dolls.
Yes, telekinetic dolls who play pranks on people and just cause horror because they find it funny. So
I love the idea of food physics, because as he described the phenomenon that can happen as you cook, the idea of everyone in this world is a physicist, but these physics are actually based on culinary techniques. If you want to split that atom, you need to season it at least twice a day, wait for a marination period of at least 24 hours with honey and vinegar, and then take the knife and slowly insert it into the pile, and that's how you achieve nuclear fission. So
that's what you like about the piece. Now, what's your idea for a game thing?
You caught me. I was just hungry originally. As a specific game thing, I want physics, but it's all cooking instructions. You have to cook in order to achieve specific physics properties, because chemistry involves recipes similar.
So what you're saying is you want like a full-on simulation experience of like building a spaceship, but every part you make to attach, or every time you try to attach something, you have to cook it, recipe it.
Yes, you build a spaceship, but it's a food spaceship, if that makes sense. So to create the whole planet,
it's a fully legitimate spaceship. You just create steel by basting some iron ore with balsamic vinegar.
Exactly. And then leave it in the oven for at least 2 hours at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's how you make iron plating.
And you have to keep an eye on the temperature, because occasionally it will try and cook in Celsius, and you have to shout at it to tell it to stop.
It needs to stop.
Oh my
Don't
God.
worry, if you freeze it, you have to figure it out from there. I can't help you.
It's Dine and Dash, but it's actually every like recipe prepares like a fucking uranium tablet or something for.
Look, you're making uranium cakes is now a very simple process. First, you take 2 fish and eggs and at least a quarter.
You could actually really fun like arcade game out of this, just where people don't even know what they're getting into, because you sell it as like a cooking simulator where you are a brand new chef in this blank industry at blank industries, and you go into like the kitchen area and they're like, all right, we need a new wing for the aeronautics vessel, and you're like,
what?
I'm sorry, what?
It's like, yep, that's the first instruction.
There's the recipe.
Make a wing.
There's a recipe over there. Come on, it's like the most basic recipe on the docket. Come on. Shouldn't take more
Exactly.
than 32 hours and a couple of bits.
I need a 6-piece order of plain wings with a side of jet fuel or jet fries.
You just basically create an arcade game where they rapidly start having to make more and more things over the course of like a day.
You're just building large systems. Oh, this, but even more honed in, a culinary gunsmith. Each one of your weapons is literally cooked and baked. The result, you do normal food recipes, but it turns into a firearm at the end. So you are legitimately using eggs, milk, and butter, but the moment you put that icing on, and now I have baked an M16.
So my second idea was similar to this, but for wizards or spellcasters instead, where instead of casting spells by like chanting arcane language and making symbols in the air, you actually do it by like reciting the steps of a recipe and like actively performing the cooking, and then
I gotta bake a fireball real quick.
Let me just cook up a little grease spell. Here we go. We take the chicken and then we slather it, and it just creates grease everywhere.
That's a perfect subclass for all the magic casters. I think Artificer blends in perfectly with this.
Well, Artificer is literally this already, kind of. Like Artificer is the premise of Artificer is that you're supposed to flavor your spell casting as like
flavor with time.
No, you're supposed to flavor it with trinkets. So like they're like little magical items that your character pulls out. They just happen to have on them at all times. That's what their spells are, instead of actually casting the spells.
Your speed cooker. So the trinkets in this case would be either the pre-made food or you very quickly whipping up that recipe for the purpose. Cake golems.
Oh yeah,
it
can't be pre-made because part of the casting of the spell is
putting it together and activating.
Cooking. Yeah.
Unless, Force, it could be pre-made. What if all your spells are just frozen dinners? You carry a microwave around with you. Hang on, guys. Give me 3 minutes. You'll be sorry.
Cast firebolt. The cantrip after 3 minutes of prep.
Instant hot water. Okay. I have another on this. It is like instant freeze-dried spells in normal culinary containers. Anyone can go buy a couple like instant cup of firebolts where you add hot water, wait for 30 seconds, and it will shoot a firebolt. The more complex spells are more like involved prep meals. Like, let's say a wish spell is like a frozen turkey you need to leave in the oven and prepare, net, season, put back in oven, and it's that whole process to cast one wish turkey. That's fun. Pre-packaging spells as like convenience and novelty items. We've got
oh my
32 value pack.
And then you get the people who fucking sell a fucking Easy Wish oven where each spell you cook has a little wish added on top, except it doesn't actually do anything because they never finish cooking because it's not a legally recognized.
It's not a real one.
It's not a real cooker. It's not designed to actually cook anything, but you sell it for kids, and it's like baby's first freeze-dried spell. You give it to your kids to teach them how to make their spells, but it's not actually going to actually cause any of their spells to go off.
Mm-hmm. You just have like the idea, or it's only like very low tier cantrip harmless spells. Oh, and even you have the utensils / the facility you use to scale the level of the spell. So you have
the funny thing?
A firebolt, but you put it in like a level 9 microwave. You cast it, even though firebolt's a cantrip.
You know the funny thing? All that's done by doing freeze-dried spells is it brought me back around to the idea of like ingestibles where you take like a little like pill and then you cast a spell that way, which then brought me back around to the concept of like little pills that you can like slot into things that then channel the magic through the object. And I'm like, oh,
and
wait,
then we have now walked into spell gear.
This is just my homebrew spell gear system. All right, rip.
Ideas that are interlinked and related, but not quite the same. Yes, thank you so much.
Eleni
Fish Truck.
fish truck. All right. I have another truck, but this time of the Spooder variety.
It's not of the hit me and send me to an anime variety, right?
No, this is called Choo Choo Spooder.
Okay. Oh, real quick, as an entire segue that is not related to anything at all that has been said.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, speaking of other things that are beautiful and environmental, SCP-5449, also
He's
known
cute
as
spider, bro.
Choo Choo Spooder, by, we go to the history here real quick, Sir Slash 47. Thank you very much, Sir Slash 47, for the content which we are about to enjoy.
Thank you for the content.
SCP-5449, Object Class Safe. Special containment procedures. SCP-5449 is to be housed in a 40 by 40 by 40 centimeter terrarium in the west wing of Site-47. Site caretakers must maintain an optimal temperature and humidity level, which are to be adjusted when SCP-5449 fuck, brain, goes into hibernation. The plants and decorations may be changed after it wakes up at the anomaly's preference. SCP-5449-1 is to be kept available to the SCP if used for recreational purposes. One researcher with a clearance level 2 or higher must accompany the SCP on site. Maintenance is to be carried out whilst the SCP is hibernating.
Cute. He just sounds like a cute spider, bro. He's allowed in his little terrarium. And he's got plants. Nothing too disturbed yet. But I assume you're going to read the description.
Go ahead.
SCP-5449 is a spider of the... God. Celticidae family.
I assume that's not
As
actually
a
how it's
footnote,
pronounced.
commonly known as jumping spiders, whose species is currently unidentified. SCP-5449 demonstrates high levels of intelligence for arachnids, able to learn human language and functions of objects through observation and deduction. SCP-5449-1 is a wooden toy train locomotive with 3 small carriages originally belonging to Dr. Ramona Slevin. SCP-5449 became attached to it after finding a way to spin its threads around the wheels and maneuver it. Because of this, it can ride on walls and ceilings and puff silk clouds even when moved by personnel. It was subsequently designated SCP-5449-1. This is fucking adorable.
It is. It's very adorable. I love Choo Choo Spooder. He is best Spooder. Also, obviously, one of my ideas is going to be just a friendly spider NPC.
Absolutely. There's a lot of reflavoring you can do for this, for other ideas as well. I will write down.
I'm actually going to add pilots a mech with strings. This is like a little mech that he's made. Uses his strings.
It's a toy robot, but it's actually dangerous because he could use it.
Yep. All right,
Discovery. You want to read Discovery? Yeah.
On the 25th of August?
Yes. January, February, March, April, May, June, July. August is the 8th month.
Yeah. During a renovation, 2019, during a renovation of Dr. Sylvan's office, a shelf collapsed overnight, breaking an heirloom piece of amber containing spider eggs. SCP-5449 hatched and found SCP-1 on the ground next to it. The next morning, Dr. Sylvan found the SCP riding laps in SCP-1 around her desk. The SCP was successfully contained in a plexiglass container and later transferred into its enclosure. Further research showed that the other eggs were not fertilized. The origin of the amber could not be determined. Then we have an addendum of events.
Indeed. You want to just alternate, or?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I need you to start if we're going to alternate.
Sure.
There's one that you have to read.
On August 30th, 2019, event SCP-5449 was visibly sad, screeched silently, and refused to eat. Researchers tried to find the cause. Result: after unsuccessfully trying to appease it with treats, SCP-5449-1 was placed next to its enclosure. Choo Choo Spooder indeed, and when he got his train back, SCP-5449 hugged the wall next to SCP-5449-1. After internal deliberation, researchers let SCP-5449 SCP-5449 right around for 4 hours until it got hungry. The SCP was permitted to access -1 as long as it was being observed directly.
Hey!
He got his train back.
On the 18th.
Also screeched silently. I'm imagining he's reading on the inside. Fucking train!
It might not even be quietly. Spooders can screech, right?
Most of them, I don't think so.
Do spiders make it? Do spiders make noises?
Nope.
On the 18th of September 2019, the SCP was fed at the scheduled time. Result, the SCP wove the words, "thank you," and waved. Upon questioning, the SCP could not make full sentences, but appeared to comprehend the speech directed towards it.
I love him. I love him so much. October 14th, 2019. Event. SCP-5449 was not seen for 48 hours. The result. Researchers found the SCP hibernating inside its cave. Okay. Researchers continued to clean the enclosure weekly. The conditions of the terrarium were adjusted. On February 22nd, 2020, the SCP woke up and excitedly jumped around in its enclosure.
Hey. On the 5th of March, 2020, the event. The SCP saw that Dr. Carson forgot the cupcake on his desk when he went to the break room. Result, the SCP loaded said cupcake in one of the carriages and rode the -1 to deliver it. Afterwards, the SCP was reprimanded and explained the potential dangers to itself. Personnel looked into extra security measures. Dr. Carson appreciated the gesture and let the SCP have a bite of his cupcake. He looked further into ways the anomaly could be helpful for personnel.
He just wanted to deliver his cupcake. I want my fan fiction of this and the Tickle Slime together. They would just make, like, the cutest Avengers. Fourth month. April 17th, 2020.
The month we're in right now? Wait, no.
Is it? No, fuck you.
No, we're in February.
What was that for? I thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, it's not. Wait a second. No, it's not.
I gained a whole 2 months. What the fuck, Brain?
You time traveled it for a second.
I think it's because April is like the end of when my seasonal work is, and so that's what I was thinking about.
I'll let that one slide. April 17th, 2020. Event. Dr. Carson's proposal to have SCP-5449 deliver small objects was given a test period of 2 weeks. The result. The SCP delivered non-urgent post lunch and several small objects.
Including, but not limited to, AA batteries, a USB, another cupcake, tissues, and cartridges. Non-urgent post, so like letters.
Post, okay. In the west wing of Site 47. Due to raised morale, the testing period was extended. If you had Spider delivery, Spider Amazon, Spider delivery service.
I had the Choo Choo here.
The Choo Choo, I brought you your thing. Please sign here. He writes a wet pencil for you to be able to sign.
Okay. 8th of October, 2020. Several months later. Event. After circa 2 days of inactivity, the SCP-5449 was found dormant on a bed of moss in its cave under a self-woven blanket. Result. Personnel awaits the moment the SCP awakens from hibernation avidly.
Ooh. They really want the boy to come back.
Yeah.
On March 6th, 2021. So that's
May.
7 months later. May. Yeah, May. Event. Whilst on its daily delivery route, SCP-5449 brought Dr. Carson a cupcake from his first break. The recently mopped hall was not completely dried up, which caused SCP-5449-1 to slip and collide with Dr. Carson's desk. The result, Dr. Carson's tea fell on SCP-5449. Dr. Carson called for emergency medical assistance. The SCP was taken away to the medical wing. SCP-5449-1 lost 2 of its wheels and a carriage in the collision. I'm so sad. Fuck you. This is what you wanted me to read. You got me invested, so I have my
9th of May, 2021. Event. SCP-5449 succumbed to its injuries. Result. A funeral for SCP-5449 was held in the west wing of Site 47. SCP-5449-1 was set on the grave with flowers potted in its carriage with the permission of Dr. Sylvan. Several researchers took the day off.
I'm
Choo
so
Choo
sad.
Spooder.
I'm so sad.
I knew what I was making you read. I'm
Damn
laughing
you.
and crying
He
because I'm
gave me
sad,
something
but
so
I'm
sweet
so
to
funny.
hurt me.
Oh, speaking of terrible things that hurt, last night was the last Critical Role spoilers. Last night was the last episode in which Robbie Damon participated in Critical Role as his character guest star appearance finally came to an end as he left the show peacefully to go take care of his brother in the show. So that was
He
really
deserved
fucking sad. You needed this pain. Now we're on you for.
Breathe! You hurt me just to hurt.
I hurt myself, so therefore I'm hurting you.
Others. He deserved better.
He did
We
deserve
have a
better.
funeral for our boy as well.
But everybody
there's
get
a
the
last
black clothes out. This is why I'm wearing
die or black clothes.
both black clothes and the die.
Oh. I guess a second. It's not a new event. It's just a footnote.
You read it. It's
it's a
an
letter.
email or
To Site 47 personnel from Site Director T.Y. Meigs. Subject in regards to SCP-5449. I would like to personally give my condolences to everyone at Site 47 after the passing of SCP-5449. His death has impacted morale greatly. Despite this, I must see this for what it is and file a report that an anomaly has been neutralized. Its object class will be mirrored to this change. I will not give out disciplinary sanctions as accidents do happen. However, for future requests to have anomalies roam freely on the site will be declined by default. I hope this will be a lesson for everyone here at Site 47, including myself. Site Director Meigs.
Aww. Sad.
Now, out of sheer respect for my boy, there has to be a world with Amazon delivery service where SCP-5449 lives, reproduces, and there's a family-owned delivery service.
Is this what's the fucking Kiki's delivery service? Fucking
Kiki's delivery
Ghibli
from
the Ghibli thing? Yeah. Yeah.
Choo Choo Spider must be known from the high heavens. In any Twitch chat, in any area, I am allowed to reference Choo Choo Spider. I will. I stand Choo Choo Spider.
Here's the thing: I needed you to know Choo Choo Spider because I also want to stand Choo Choo Spider, but I couldn't keep like standing Choo Choo Spider randomly while we're interacting, and you'd be like, "Why are you doing this?" And I'd have to explain it. So the real reason I made you read a terrible thing was so that we could be in solidarity together, so we both understand the reference.
You inducted me into the Choo Choo Spider cult, and you know what? I accept this.
There's no induction necessary. I just show you the SCP.
Reading the article is the induction process, okay? Funnily enough, it's kind of like the Stargate episode we just watched. I just need to see the video, and I'm immediately on board.
All hail Choo Choo Spooder.
All hail the Choo Choo.
What was the last Stargate we watched? I'm totally zoned.
Oh, there's two of them, but one of them was with all the kids that were still training to like fight under Apophis, but they just all of Apophis's death footage, and then that immediately snapped them out of their brainwashing, because that's how that works.
Yes, that's totally how that works. They totally wouldn't have just assumed it was an Indian sort of.
But no, it's potent. But Choo Choo Spider's tails are even more potent. All right, I want an army in the name of Choo Choo Spooder.
To respect our good boy Choo Choo Spooder, what game ideas do you have from that?
Holy shit! Just as like a box, because I think Undertale does this lightly with the spiders that show up everywhere. That it's mentioned that they have a whole side business with Miss Muffet. Your inventory system is handled by Spiders on. Like the spiders handle your large group inventory that you can access from anywhere. They deliver it to you on time in little trains.
Spider inventory management. This is actually delivery by Emma's Spooder.
Or something that I think
oh my god! Emma's Spooder works so good because it's both a joke on Amazon, but it's also, I'm a Spooder. Emma Spooder.
Emma Spooder. Oh, Emma Spooder is good.
So it's hit delivery by Emma Spooder. I also like the idea that you have a little spider in your inventory who, when you move an item, he picks it up and moves it, then goes back to his corner, picks up and moves it, goes back to his corner, picks up and moves it, goes back to his corner.
You are customer number 5449.
Always, every time when you register to get your customer. Oh, there we go. There you go, Jack Rat. I hope you're writing this shit down. Mix this shit into everything.
Absolutely. Emma Spooder is interdimensional because it transcends reality, and they provide their services because they just want to be helpful.
They're good boys. They're good Spooder boys.
They are good boys.
So I had a thing less wholesome, more to allow Spooder to get his revenge. So Spooder comes out of an egg inside of a piece of amber, right?
Mm-hmm.
In this case, I'm thinking of a magical piece of amber, which you can pour a spell into to cause it to create or potentially turn into, as I'm thinking about it, a creature, specifically like a spider of a different variety, based on how strong the spell you put into it. So it can it can either like do minor tasks for you, or it can like full on fucking fight and claw things and shit like that.
So you can like inject and create a whole. Like if you put a fireball in there, you get fire spiders. They cook.
Well, that's not exactly.
Well.
I was thinking more like you feed it a spell slot from a spell level, and so like level 1 is like it's just a little Spooder who can carry objects like a unseen servant.
Choo Choo.
And so he just like carries objects. He carries like an object around for you. Like,
will level 9 spawn a lot of small spiders or a really big like personal butler spider?
Well, I think that's where you get into, as you get to the higher level ones, you'd have options. So like at level 5, you'd be like, starting at level 5, you can choose between multiple or singular. And if it's singular, the spider becomes a large size creature. If it's multiple, then you get 4 of the spider. But with like a quarter of the health or something like that. And then starting at level 8, you get to do something else, and then a level 9 spell, the spider is permanent until you use a command word to like bring it back or something, or the spider, whatever you summon, is permanent until you bring it back. But basically, it's just like a tiered up like
summoner amber
magical crystal. Yeah.
And I like you taking spell slots. That means it scales just infinitely. The more the higher tier spell slots you get, the better Spooders you can get out.
And it is just like a little amber egg.
It's actually a pretty fun. You can probably build a whole management game style out of that, where you are loaned this amber egg, and you must build your empire, your economic empire, by slowly feeding it instead of just spell slots anything. You
could actually have. I was about to say you could actually have a character who uses gemstones, or uses like precious objects, precious metals, gems, stuff like that, and based on the object and the shape it's in, kind of like how spellcasting works as is, but based on the object type and the like quality of the object and the spell you put in, it creates different permanent like creatures. So he creates like little gem constructs by just pouring, because the magic innately like shapes and carves and gives life to anything that's precious.
So you can do tier 3 gem spiders, tier 1 wood spiders, stuff like that.
Doesn't even have to be spiders. You could make it things like the gems all become spiders, but like precious metals become like little lizards that like work together, and so then you get little spooters riding on the lizards with like force, like 4 spears.
Arms your army. This is kind of like what I was thinking before too, because I really love the idea of small creatures taking mundane or toy-like objects, but making a lot of usage out of them because they're small enough to leverage it. So let's just say some form of non-specific tiny race, but whatever object you put inside their pen or their little enclosure, they utilize that for their machinations. Let's just say, for reference, it's a spider nest. So you put an iron ingot in there, they start breaking it off and smithing it and making little spider armor.
Didn't we read an ant one like this?
Yeah, it's very much like the ant one, but actually it is pretty similar to the ant one in principle.
That would explain why you like that ant one so much.
Yes.
Yeah, I like the idea along that lines, going into like micro environments. There was an episode of, I think it was the really fucking live die robot, death robot.
Love, Death, Robots?
Love, Death, Robot. Thank you. It was the episode with the people in the fridge. I love like
the fridge
micro
episode.
environments where the environment's progression is sped up, so you can watch the whole environment go through. That's part of why I like God games /
sim builders,
large strategies and sim builders and stuff. Yeah, because I like seeing that. Unfortunately, games not quite as good as stories, because they do have a limit to what they can do. You can't like replicate everything, and it's not like perfectly graphically real. But I would love to have like a little like micro globe that just has like, I'm actually gonna make this like an item as well. It's just a fucking micro. Oh, there was an episode of the thing you recommended to me.
What was the thing I recommended to you?
It was like Love, Death, Robots. I can't remember what it's called. It was like Unicorn Shack or Warehouse something or other. Should be on my Netflix.
No idea.
It might not have been. It might have been another one of my friends, but with
another small anthology series.
Yeah. Well, they did a bunch of very similar things, but one of the episodes they did was, or one of the repeating episodes that like themes that they had, is they had an episode or a bit where God was just this like posh British guy in a chamber with his like servant, and there was like a game table with humans on it, and so he would like oh, look at them, they're doing a little rain dance. Actually, his servant would draw attention, like, I think they're doing a rain dance, sir. Like, oh, would you look at that? They're so cute. Yes, I'm feeling charitable day. Go ahead and why don't you get the spritzer out and spray some rain on them? And he gets a water bottle spray can and just and it like makes a rain cloud that rains. And then you see the people like, oh,
yay!
And when they get fired, he's like, who told them they could have that? That's 10,000 years too soon. Nope, smite him. Like, is that really? I said smite him. Now smite him. Or when he just starts throwing tornadoes and natural disasters through like a major city for fun. I like watching the people panic, like trying to like firefighters go into a fire he starts and shit like that. Like, I would love that kind of environment. I don't think I'd have the heart to actually do terrible
natural
things
disaster
to people, natural disaster them. But
give it enough time. After you play on peaceful long enough, eventually you're like, okay, I want to make it a little bit harder for you.
Well, it's just,
then it's just a matter of how much can you take.
Yeah, it wouldn't be peaceful though, because they'd be fighting. They're humans. They'd be fighting each other and be doing all this other stuff. Like, yeah, like I'm sure there'd be fucking crazy shit going on. But yeah, I'd want to do that. But I'd want that like I want something like that, ladies and gentlemen. I want to be God. That's what I'm saying.
I am shocked and surprised. Flabbergasted, even.
It's like the episode of fucking Futurama. I'm shocked. Shocked! Well, not really, but...
I have to say I am. For a frame of reference.
Alright.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There are a lot of, like, microscopically sized creatures in fiction. Because I want to say gnome, but I know gnomes aren't that tiny. Like, the fey idea of, like, gnomes that steal your socks. Gnomes that big, that could, like, take a thimble but use it like a helmet.
So, in theory, a lot of, like, old mythic creatures, like gnomes and imps and stuff, didn't physically have a size. They were abstract concepts. They would just fucking do shit.
You just do whatever. A gnome just exists as a tiny person. How tiny does your story need the person to be? That's how tiny gnomes are. The gnomes.
Now we look at the thing that...
What the fuck is this?
The fuck is what?
I think I clicked into this one. I don't think it was a branch off. But I'll
sorry.
just show you. You don't need to. I'm not sure if we want to read this one, but you'll understand why I was so confused when I just clicked on it.
No, you're fine. Just to allow everybody who's aware, who's listening, Jack Rabbit quoted when I tweeted her about rating Choo Choo Spooder. Jack Rabbit quote tweeted it and said, and they say that a hero can save us. I'm not going to stand here and wait. Hold on to the wings of the eagles. Watch as we all fly away. And it's an image, the meme of it's Aragorn standing in front of like the army at the gates. And looks back. It says for Choo Choo Spooder. Charges. And it's got Jack Rabbit's. It's got Jack Rabbit's hat like on it.
We stand for Choo Choo Spooder
cute.
here. All right.
I like that. We are Choo Choo Spooder army. Hear us,
Spooders, rise up.
Mandible. All right, what did you send me?
You do little hand mandible things in front of your mouth. That's your universal way of saying hi to fellow Spooderins. Yeah,
I hate it. I hate it.
You see my reaction, right?
Everything that's happening right now. For everybody who's unaware, SCP-225, if you want to read it, is literally, this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. Yep. It's upside down is the joke.
Yes.
And then if you go to the bottom, there's a button you can press that gives you a flipped right side up one.
Okay. I was looking for that button. It just wowed me on the upside down.
It's just hyperlinked. This is a story all about how, and you click on that hyperlink and it flips it. Well, it doesn't flip it, but it gives you another one.
It gives you the idea.
Do you want to read this, or are you just going to keep...
I've been picking. He got off track with Bel Air, and then I decided...
West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I've spent most of my days. Chilling out and maxing and acting all cool and all, shooting some b-ball upside of school with a couple of guys who were up to no good. Started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got one little fight and my mom got scared and said, "You move away to Auntie and Uncle in Bel Air."
I recognize it till you got to the last 5 lines. I'm like, oh, that's what it is.
So I whistled for a cab, but when it came near, his license plate said fresh and had dice in the mirror. If anything, I could say that this cab was rare. I shouted to my cabio homes to Bel Air. I pulled up to a house about 708.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting. All right. If you're going to recite the chat,
that's about where it falls apart for me from memory. Like,
it was already on kind of shaky wheels, and the wheels exploded.
It was.
Fragments went everywhere.
All right. So, what is this one called? Who is the creator?
SCP-982986, written by
Dr. Cimmerian.
Dr. Cimmerian.
So Dr. Cimmerian is an actual person? Wait, no, there's a second page. Yeah.
Really? That's interesting.
I see you have a type.
Apparently, my type is Dr. Cimmerian.
Fish Truck might have just used Dr. Cimmerian's doctor in theirs. Or Fish Truck could be Dr. Cimmerian. That's what it's called, Outside the Box. Thank you, Dr. Cimmerian, for this content, which we are about to enjoy. Power Core.
Thank you for the content. I enjoyed your cooking. SCP-282986, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The SCP is kept on Floor 9 of Site 88. Any person wishing to use the SCP must have approval from personnel with at least a Level 2 security clearance. I'm ignoring the random beeps and boops that are totally happening from my console and not my phone not on silent. Any objects recovered within the SCP are to be housed in a secure locker adjacent to the chamber.
Man, we are such professionals.
Absolutely.
Description. SCP-2986 is a cardboard box that was originally utilized in the delivery of a Whirlpool refrigeration unit addressed to Jupiter, Florida. When the SCP is entered and sealed, the object will take on the appearance of the interior of a spacefaring vessel. Technology within the vessel is beyond that of current human development, but appears to be designed for the use of humanoid individuals. The vessel can be exited through manual operation of a decompression chamber located in the ship's rear. Outside of the vessel, one is subject to vacuum. There are no stars visible from the vessel's vantage point to indicate its location. Writing on the side of the spaceship reads, Voyager, written with a J instead of a G. The vessel is capable of moving at speeds faster than light and appears to have an unlimited fuel supply. Despite this fact, in years of testing, no other object, life forms, star, or planetary body has been found within SCP-2986. Which, to be fair, even traveling at speeds faster than light, what is it? There's a vacuum point in between galactic stars where even traveling at that speed, like you would go potentially weeks without being able to like
anything
with your own eyes see a star.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are like just the smallest gaps.
Yep, because you could just usually it's called dark space, but just areas of space where there are no stars and thus no visible light. And even moving at the speed of light, those things can be light years big.
Yep.
To make it even more depressing, space itself rapidly expands after a period of time. Space itself will be expanding at a rate faster than the speed of light itself. Therefore, you would never reach your destination.
Well, unless you were going in.
Even farther, because the way we're not going to get space expansion, but the way space expands works is you wouldn't be able to travel enough distance. You would stay where you are, but the distance itself would keep increasing. So relative to where you were, you would stay there, but everything else would be getting farther away from you than you could ever move.
But then how... At that point, wouldn't the Earth be moving away from the sun, though? If we're talking about relative positioning of objects in space?
Relative positioning, yes, but I think it's more severe for larger cosmic bodies, because things that are close to each other end up getting closer. Bear in mind, this is over like a time period long after like the billions of years it'll take for the sun to absorb the Earth. But eventually, celestial bodies that are close enough will come together, and if you're not close enough for the force of gravity to overcome that, you will continuously get farther away. So, in a way, yeah, eventually...
My brain... Let's go back to Choo Choo Spooder. I don't like this.
I miss Choo Choo Spooder. Rest in peace, my sweet, precious boy. You were on paragraph 3?
3 corpses were discovered inside the object upon recovery. The ship's crew were listed as Pirate Jimmy Billings, deceased at 55, Sarah Ackerman, deceased at 55, Captain Sick Billy Abraham, deceased at 56, and Mary Jones, missing. Written records by these individuals indicate that the vessel encountered various life forms during the first 12 days of use by these individuals. Then sparingly for 7 years afterwards, there is no record of an encounter for the remaining 43 years.
Sarah Ackerman, this person liked Attack on Titan. You may continue.
Cause of death for technically her parents did. The cause of death for Sarah Ackerman and Jimmy Billings appeared to be a single gunshot wound to the head at close range. Okay.
Yeah.
Several written and recorded logs in English. Billy. Oh wait, what?
Right after close
Billy
range,
Abraham appears to have committed suicide soon afterwards. No signs of a struggle are evident on any of the 3 bodies. The vessel's operating system utilizes a variant combination of Spanish and Chinese. Several written and recorded logs in English have been recovered from the computer system that originate from the vessel's deceased occupants. No audio logs belonging to Mary Jones are recovered from the computer records. Following is the most recent log, which references the individual. I'm just doing some math here real quick. These people started flying when they were 5 years old and 6 years old.
Really? Because the vessel...
Because they, for the first 7 years, they spent things sparingly, and then for 43 years afterward, there's no encounter.
Yeah,
so 50 years, which means they died at 55.
5 and 6.
Yeah. And however old Mary Jones was. Presumably not much older if she was. So this was an imagination game gone very, very wrong.
I know. Because I was thinking, a cardboard box in a spaceship, this is like something kids would love. Oh god, these kids got in here.
Yep. Alright. Pirate Jimmy Billings' log, day 4,958. If we turn around, maybe we can find the Gorblacks again, or the Pufferkins. Barely remember them, but I know they existed. Billy says it was all a dream. It's still a dream. We'll wake up one day. Says we just have to keep going. Mary agrees with me. She says she's going to go talk to Billy tomorrow.
And we saw how that works.
Addendum A. Missing person reports from Jupiter, Florida indicate that Billy Abraham disappeared in 1965. School records, however, indicate that the remaining individuals continued attendance until 1977.
So they were probably like leaving the box and still living their lives, but Billy just stayed in the box the whole time.
Oh, okay. So they knew how to get out. I guess they would, otherwise the getting out would be relatively easy otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the researchers are able to get in and out,
Okay,
but I guess...
So they weren't trapped.
Yeah, but it does say until 1977. So either they graduated or...
How many years is that?
Between from 1965
12.
to 77. Yeah.
So
That's K through 12. I think they graduated then.
They were 17. They were 17 and 18. They became adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they graduated.
Yeah, they stopped having childlike imaginations, and it broke down for them. Something like that. My guess.
Maybe. Also, it could have been that Billy just stayed in there, and each time they went in, they thought, "Oh, hey, we just like collectively fall asleep in here, and it's just a dream." Because, admittedly, the opposite would be weird. But Billy just never left. He was always really adamant about it, and I guess Sarah probably brought up, turn around and stop, but Billy didn't like that.
Right. Okay. 3 corpses were discovered inside the object. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Billy killed 2 of them and himself, and Mary probably just never entered the box again.
Stupid fucking Billy.
Damn it, Billy. Billy got way into the LARP.
Couldn't separate his character from himself. I'm just saying, it's a dangerous game.
He could roleplay for others, but not for himself. Actually, this would be the other way around. But yeah, I just like the idea of baseline, small box that turns out to be an indistinct cardboard box that's something larger underneath the surface. I swear, this isn't an original idea, but I can't remember where I saw it. But this idea was of all homeless people secretly having like a large network in society amongst each other. So if you go inside that like a cardboard box, it goes down into an elevator to the secret homeless society. They live in opulence and exchange things. I've seen this somewhere. I don't remember where, but it was really funny.
At least you're willing to acknowledge that you've stolen it from somewhere.
Yeah,
that seems like something a cartoon would have done.
Yeah, I feel like it had to have been a kid's cartoon. The John Wick
I don't know.
do this.
I could see some sociopath like conservatives being like, actually, all homeless people are rich as fuck.
All profiting.
They're a secret evil communist empire beneath the
homes.
I mean, it's just the Undercity.
It is literally an
Undercity. Where, like, homeless people are just skating.
I need change. Yes.
Have Chinese. Skaven has goods if you have coin. Yes.
This is my box spot. No one else allowed. No. Oh no, they wage secret homeless wars because they have like the makeshift catapults. It's like storm vermin equivalent. Oh no.
It's covered in fucking like made a makeshift suit of armor out of a garbage tin.
Oh damn. Okay, I know this wasn't the one with the homeless Undercity, but I think there is a game called Homeless Simulator where this basically happens. They're like war boss homeless people who make like makeshift suit of armor.
I know the game you're talking about. Yep.
Or use your pigeon as a ranged weapon. It's fun stuff that's like secret societies, but really janky secret societies. Bean can grenades.
I actually have nothing from this in terms of like. My brain was just trying to process the whole fucking children trapped in a box for 50 plus years and murdered each other.
Yep. If you want to get real dark about it too, it could just be like you know how Drifloom mentions that it straight up kidnaps and kills kids?
Yep. Did you know that in Pokemon Arceus there's a quest where you have to rescue a kid from a Drifloon?
We're tripling down on this
because he was playing with it at night. It would only show up at night and would play with the kids, but the kids wouldn't tell anyone. And then he was playing with it one night. You went to investigate, and he said it was scaring him because it wouldn't let him go. I wouldn't let him go home.
Dark, but I kind of appreciate it. Yeah, it's just dark.
Pokemon Arceus is a mature game for mature people.
Hell yeah.
Unlike
Oh no! I was about to say, how is it? Is it rated MA? All right, it's basically The Witcher of Pokemon. Where are the sex scenes in? Then I remember. Oh wait, you're not playing an adult in these.
we might, however, just like straight up cut this last one out.
Really?
Just because I don't have any ideas from it. Do you have any ideas out from it?
I had a couple, like the whole Undercity. We eventually got to homeless people being Skaven.
Fair,
Undercity,
fair,
or like
fair.
secret societies. I like also mundane objects secretly having magical implications. Do you remember like little Einsteins? I don't remember how they get in the ship, but things like if you jumped inside your refrigerator, it turns out it's actually an Arctic level. So a whole game idea, for instance, is a
Little
kid platformer.
Einsteins had a game.
Little Einsteins, didn't it? Did it? Wait, I think the Little
I only
Einsteins did have
vaguely
a
remember
game.
Little Einsteins as a fucking shitty kids show.
Apparently, there were Little Einsteins games, both
The fuck?
web ones and there's a whole Game Boy Little Einsteins game. Apparently, there was a really cool like online Little Einsteins game too. I remember playing. But anyway, we're getting off track. Like the Little Einsteins and having a mundane thing you jump into be a whole magical adventure. Game idea is a kid inside of just their house. But the things they can go inside of are the level entries. So kind of like in Mario 64, the fridge is your ice level. Going inside the closet, that's like the horror level. Underneath your bed is the dream level.
Let's maybe not have a kid walk into a fridge. Pretty sure this day and age, people would be like, you're encouraging kids to walk into fridges and freeze to death?
There's a sign on there that says, warning, do not enter. And the very first thing you see is a snowman say, wow, that was really dumb of you. Did you expect there to be a game level in here? Well, there was this time, but that's not a good idea.
Don't go into fridges, kid. What are you doing in here? You're freezing to death. Come on, you should at least wear a coat.
Mm-hmm. You have to get the coat item from the closet level before you're allowed to enter. And the closet level's too dark, so you find the flashlight from underneath the bed level.
So as a game concept here, following in this is a kid moving into a new home.
Mm-hmm.
And so you like help your parents unpack every day, and then like every day you unpack a room, you also like find a thing, or your parents like come home with like new furniture, and so you're like exploring the new furniture and like going on brave adventures and shit like that.
Yeah.
So this way, instead of like going inside the fridge, maybe you can go in. You can go. Fridges seal
from the inside, so you're not. Honestly, like meta question: how fucking big does your fridge have to be so you can actually fit inside of it?
For a kid, not
how
big. Your kid could fit into a normal freezer.
I'm thinking like 10-year-old.
Oh, I'm thinking like 5-year-old.
Oh no! I was thinking 10. Or you can't. It's not reasonable for you to even get in with the door closing, let alone the whole world being in there. God, no, not 5. I also say this because, like, when I was a kid, the coolest thing ever, literally coolest, was when you would go inside the store, open up, like, the refrigerated sections, you'd look inside, you'd see, oh, shit, there's a whole warehouse back here where they could stock the shelves from behind there. It's like, there's
that
a
shit
whole
was
world.
So cool. And then you work there, and you're like, Jesus, fuck, these people have the worst fucking...
I didn't even think about it as a kid. And then you realize, it must be really cold back there. It is hard work.
Well, it's not even the cold. It's just fucking shitty fucking treatment. You have to deal with the fucking crappy ass customers. 90%. I'm super fucking nice to store employees because even though I've never like worked at a store, I've worked in some service and stuff like that. And
they get shit on like unrightfully a lot of the time. It's just like please and thank you.
The worst. Shit on so bad. Be nice to your
local service employee. Look, they're human beings too. That. You're a human being. Treat them how you would want to be treated.
And now we're gonna go ahead and call it so that we can take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back for Pokemon.
Indeed. We had a nice round of ideas.
So let me
return to form.
Yeah. So let's round it off. Thank you guys very much for coming out. As always, you guys are awesome.
Fort Air is fucking
Stay
crazy.
awesome and have an awesome night. You awesome
You're
little lava
fucking
monsters.
Pikmin Force.
Until next time, my name is Force. Pick it
I'm
off.
Power Core. We're signing off. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.